So we've got Patrick Timothy joining us. I know you from the Tuscarora Tomahawks. I've now been watching you play in the ALL. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you, and which teams are you currently playing for and coaching?
You guys could follow me on Instagram. Very active on there. Twitter as well. At Pat Lit. That's PATLITTTT. Not Pat Lit. Pat Lit. Just Pat Lit. But no. You guys can get a hold on me on there. Twitter, Instagram. I'm also playing right now for the Bears and the ALL. During the summertime, current Tusky Pride. I'm excited to see what other future opportunities are coming. I know they're coming. I just got to continue working hard and staying locked in. Pretty much lived in Florida my whole life.
You got your master's degree in England,
I did.
like the country.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I was finishing up my senior year at Corporate University in South Carolina, and I know I was sending an email. Me and my buddy Austin Holgate were sending an email. He's also from Canada. But we were sent an email about an opportunity to continue playing lacrosse overseas and at the same time get our master's degrees. So we kind of looked at each other like, all right, yeah, let's try this out.
That's awesome. So you played over there, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah, I did.
What was that like?
It was a different animal. Coming here, being born and raised here in Florida, in America, where lacrosse is so predominant. I think I stepped into England lacrosse when it was in its developmental stage. So you had guys who were, insanely good. You had guys who were just now learning how to play the game. But real quickly, everybody started loving the game in England. So it became a very popular sport throughout the whole entire year that I was there.
That's awesome. And so did you get to play any box over there, or was that all field, I'm guessing?
Oh, that was all field, yeah.
Yeah, that's so when Florida is definitely not a place anybody thinks of as a hotbed for box lacrosse. When was the first time you played box lacrosse?
First time I played true box lacrosse was probably in the, what was it? NABL. No, not NABL. They had a tournament down in Florida for the championship round. That's when the Tampa Twisters won.
IBLA.
IBLA, that's the one, yes.
Yeah, that was the year before I started getting involved with all this, and I hooked up with the NABLL, which was a bunch of teams that, kind of went away from that. So the IBLA was your first time playing, so you played for a Florida team?
Yeah, I played for the Orlando Rockets first, and then later on played for the West Palm Beach Ramrods.
That's awesome. So down there, was it anybody who was from Canada or the North, or was it just a bunch of field players like, hey, let's try to figure this out?
For the most part, definitely a bunch of field players. We had a couple guys, Joe French, Ben French, were also down there as well, playing for the Twisters at the time. And again, just seeing the difference in their skill level and their lacrosse IQ compared to everyone else who was just starting to play box lacrosse down there, the gap was definitely bridged far.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out. Yeah, that's nuts. So you played there. Did your team make it to the championship? Or I'm guessing if the other team had the French brothers, they were kind of the ones that.
Yeah, the French brothers were a duo that we kind of struggled to get past every single time. Again, their lacrosse IQ, their skills were on a whole different level. So the game was a lot more slower for them compared to us who were just picking up the game. So over here going to 100 miles per hour while these guys were just like, all right.
So,
walking through the stage.
so you played the IBLA, and then where did you go from there? Where was the next place you played?
Next place after that, that would be Tuscarora. So after I got done there, I know I spoke to a couple guys, a couple Canadians throughout the entire off season, and I was just asking around, saying, where's the best place for me to get some reps? Because I'm kind of behind the ball, and I want to be around and be surrounded by a ton of more box players. And they're like, look, man, your best bet is probably going up to New York, playing in summertime in Canada. And then I believe, can't remember who exactly connected me to the Can-Am with Tuscarora, but I know when I first got the call and somebody told me about it, I kind of was, oh, yes, it was Roger Chrysler. He was my coach back in PBLA. No, yes, actually, rewind. completely missed out on that. PBLA first, and then it was. Oh man, no, I can't believe I forgot about that. No, the PBLA definitely was the next thing right after, because I remember going to the combine. Combine was a great experience itself, and then right after combine, played the whole entire season with the Jim Thorpe All Americans, and that was when I 100% got my foot wet in some way with box lacrosse. I know it was a little bit of a different style, but getting up and down and playing in that close quarter against that high level of players was an experience itself.
Yeah, so I just happened to fall into filming that Trenton game, and that was where you scored your first pro goal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm gonna go through the highlights I got afterwards. Yeah, that whole PBLA. That was a show, wasn't it? So that was your first chance being a professional. The combine and everything, everybody said was awesome. I mean, that must have been a huge shot when they kind of folded.
Yeah, it hurt a lot of us because we were buying into it. Coach Chrysler, he did a really good job of pulling in such a wide variety of players with so many different skills and different level of play. So he put together a really good team, and the experience itself, just meshing with those guys, meeting those guys, learning from them. Some guys like Marty Hill, and a couple other guys, and again having coaches like Roger Chrysler being your coach and kind of break the game down for you in that aspect was you know a experience that I just kept on thriving off of. So when I got the call and heard about the whole situation, I was like, oh, come on, you kidding me?
Yeah, but I mean, that must have been so cool. So you actually got to play for the guy who's going to be coaching the Haudenosaunee national team. So you kind of fell into some of the best coaching out there, and then that's how you ended up with Tusky. So Tuscarora actually has basically two legends that are coaching. You've got Roger Chrysler, who's also coaching the Haudenosaunee team. He coaches for Halifax, and then you have Darius Kilgore, who's just a legend in box lacrosse. I mean, that Tuscarora experience. So you get up there, you go play for them. What was that summer like?
Well, I'll never forget my first game. Again, just flying straight into Buffalo for the first time and getting picked up by one of the guys and hopping in a car, heading straight over. I think we played Newtown for our first game ever. And again, walking to the arena, I'm like, don't know what to expect. I know nothing. Like I think I know much, but I know nothing at all. So again, I had no idea how much of a legend Darius Kilgore was when I first met him. I didn't know how much of a legend Ross Chrysler was when I first met him. So again, just taking it all in, beating all these guys. Anthony Patterson, again, another great player who played for Tusky. Again, I remember at one point, I believe that was my first goal against Newtown. I just ran it straight down, and again, I'm just pushing fast break, pushing fast break, push transition, and Anthony's over to my left. But the defender clearly could tell, like, again, I don't want to leave Anthony open. I'm not going to slide to this guy early. So I remember just taking a rip, shooting it, scored a goal. I'm excited to get to the bench, and Darius comes up to me. He was like, "Why didn't you pass the ball earlier?" I was like, "Coach, he didn't slide up." And he was like, "You know who that is?" I'm like, "No." And again, this was how lost I was at the time. Like, that's Anthony Patterson. Like, give him the ball. He'll finish it. He'll bury it every single time.
Yeah.
So that was my first interaction realistically with Darius. And so from that point on, Darius was just an absolute just bundle of information for me. Just kept on passing more information on to me, slowing the game down for me, explaining the game from his perspective on how I can be a little bit more efficient on the field. So that was an experience itself.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you got to play with some, I mean, you're playing with Ron John, who's now playing for New York all summer too, though. I mean, so you got to, that's why that Can-Am, I'm in the same boat as you. I just figured out what box lacrosse was when the Firewolves moved to Albany. I watched it and I was like, wow, this game is nuts. I want to start, doing this. And then got hooked up in Tuscarora. Sounds like we got out there about the same time. I showed up shortly after you were there. And we actually had a kid, Trevor Butts. He came out and was like, hey, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, sure, bud, if you want to. And he came with a full packet of information of every player on Tusky. It was hilarious. Like he taught me so much in that one day. Just like he's like, that's who this guy is, that's who this guy is, this guy plays here, he was drafted here, and like all this stuff. And I was like, wow, I did not realize there is a very big discrepancy between the Can-Am and most of the pickup leagues in the U.S. I mean, how you played in the PBLA, but talk about what was the speed difference like going from that IBLA to the PBLA and then going to Can-Am?
every single time the game just got faster. Every level I stepped up to was again every single time it was like me jumping from one level to the next to the next to the next. From the IBLA, again, guys who typically may understand the game of box, but not have not fully indulged in it at a very young age. So again, the game was fast, but not as fast. To the PBLA, where guys, again, now you're talking about guys who have played professional, some guys who have had a somewhat a professional career. So again, the game got a lot faster. Um, and the ball movement, I just seeing the ball movement from PBLA to Can-Am, I was like, okay, I need more reps because the more I can understand this game, the more this game can slow down for me. And just being around those guys, um, playing with them in a Can-Am, I finally realized that the PBLA was a great structure. I love the game and everything else, but in terms of just strategy and chemistry offensively, it was night and day.
Yeah, you get a lot more reps in with that Can-Am league. That is one thing. So the Can-Am, they play a ton of games. You must, what do you have, frequent flyer miles? How do you always, you're traveling from Florida all the time. I mean, you got to spend thousands of hours a year on a plane.
Yeah, that's without a doubt. It's a sacrifice that I was willing to take mainly because I just love the game that much and I wanted to learn more. And I kind of saw myself um, in every single team that I've been a part of, from the IBLA to PBLA to Can-Am. I've seen myself grow as a lacrosse player, not only just box but also field as well. And as soon as I started seeing and experiencing those benefits and the growth in my game and development in my game, I quickly realized that I can't take time off from getting reps in. So soon as the opportunity came up for the Can-Am, I jumped on it, played in my first game. I finally realized like this is what I need to be doing right now. As much as the field game is something that I love near and dear, the box game developed my lacrosse IQ, my hand-eye coordination, my speed, being able to slow down and speed up on a whole different scale. So quickly understanding that, I formalized the idea and concept that we need to bring box lacrosse down to Florida because it's such a developmental game that you can't really get anywhere else unless you're around a lot more traditional box lacrosse players.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's a I hear it all the time. It's a sport or a tradition best learned passed down. You have to experience it. You have to be there with a guy because there's certain things. Everything just happens faster. That rebound coming off the end boards. So you play. You're a midfielder, right? When you play field.
Yep.
Yeah, but now when you play in box, you're in a much more defensive position. How was that adjustment getting used to the ball bouncing so much faster than it does in field? Because I mean, in field, once you learn the angles, and you're a very athletic guy, so you can probably get a lot of breaks in field just based off your athleticism versus that lacrosse IQ coming up, and now you combine the two, and you can see it's really paying off. For you because you are one of those top percent athletes. You never seem to run out of a gas tank. It's just impressive.
No, yeah, the motor just keep going. It doesn't stop. I played basketball my whole entire life growing up, so playing in that close quarter on a smaller court was a quick adjustment. But in terms of the ball bouncing again off the boards, yeah, it took me a while to adjust to it. Trying to read the ball, trying to understand the type of bounces it takes. So again, those guys from Tuskegee definitely taught me a couple drills that I could continue to use even out here in Florida up against a wall, just trying to pass off different type of passes and again react to how the ground ball is coming at you. So that adjustment happened quickly, but at the same time in the very beginning, yeah, it was quite a bit of a struggle. I'm missing ground balls that I never miss on field, and I'm like, yo, what is going on right now? The back spins, they're crazy.
Yeah, no, it's nuts the way the ball spins. So you're in a unique position that most of the guys I talk to are not basketball guys that convert to box lacrosse later. How similar is that offensive setup with the pick and rolls and stuff? Because I was a hockey guy, so I don't understand much about basketball. I'm starting to understand the two-man game, the three-man game, and the cycling with that, which is similar to hockey, but I hear it's really similar to basketball with the screens.
Oh, it is. I think I made that connection. Funny enough, I made that connection maybe 2 months ago. Um, I remember Darius always telling me, Pat, you're a good defender. You're a great defender. Uh, but you can be so much better if you do so much less. And I was like, what do you mean? And he broke it down to me and he was like, think about basketball, right? You have a center who's typically, not really the best footwork type of guys. You kind of want to anchor that guy low, right? You don't want him out in space. So if you have a cutter going straight across your face, instead of you trying to fight through that pick and trying to run with him, just communicate the switch or have your back guy or your low defender communicate that switch. And it's going to make your life easier and make his life easier because we don't want him up against the boards trying to guard somebody out into space. And I was like, okay, I see what you mean. Because in basketball, again, we had guys who were 6'7" when I was playing down here. And yeah, I did not want those guys out on the wing guarding at the 3-point line. So it made a lot more sense. But that adjustment, because of basketball, played a huge factor in me understanding the defensive side of the two-man game. And again, just how quick the ball switched east to west. That was probably the next biggest adjustment I had to get used to because I was not used to the ball going from east to west less than like 5 seconds. So turn my back for 1 second, I'm getting back picked. I'm used to regular picks. So getting blowed up on the back pick, yeah. I quickly learned, yeah, you don't have to play or work as hard to defend out here.
Yeah, it's a lot, the IQ in box lacrosse is one of those sports where it's just so important because anticipating it all happens so fast. If you can't anticipate what's about to happen, you're never going to, catch up with what just happened.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. And again, that was one of the biggest adjustments I had to make. Just learning the game, understanding that the picks don't stop. You think you're done playing on ball, and then next somebody throws the ball west, and next somebody sends a back pick on you, and then here comes the second pick again. And it's like you can't turn your back for 1 second. You always have to know that something's actively happening every single second while you're out on the field.
Yeah, no, it's constant motion. So now you get into how did you end up in the ALL? So the ALL, for anybody who doesn't know, is the Arena Lacrosse League. It's a pro league, kind of like a minors, like an AHL, maybe closer to like an OHL or an ECHL, just the way it breaks down because there's no official affiliation. But you look through and you see someone like Aaron Woods who all of a sudden gets called up and he is just dominating. I mean, he's been playing great. That's got to make you guys all feel great to just see that level that you were playing against a guy who's now had a hat trick and multiple goal games in his first 4 games. There's like 15 guys in the history of playing that their rookie season. I mean, granted he's 27, but their rookie season they get multiple goal games in their first 5 games. It's not a huge crowd.
No, not at all. Definitely a motivator, showing that, you stay committed, you stay disciplined, you take your time, understand the game, learn the game, constantly be a student of the game. Don't take 1 second off of thinking that, you understand the game. Try to find different ways to adapt and get better. It's definitely motivating, making you realize that if you stay disciplined, the opportunities are going to come. But I got with the ALL mainly because of after I got done with training camp with the Wings and I was released. Coach Day, again, awesome coach, great guy. He broke it down to me. He told me, you're not far off. He was like, you do need some more reps. You need some more reps. So he was like, he offered, the opportunity to just go into the ALL, experiencing that and learning and getting better. And me knowing me, I was like, I'm not done yet. I still have a lot more gas in the tank. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to continue pursuing my career and my dreams and goals. So as soon as he gave that opportunity to me, told me about it, I reached out to the Bears, which again, I had a couple guys who actually I played on the PBLA with, Lane Smith, Kent, AP, Anthony Patterson, and a couple more guys, Dan. But I was like, you know what, screw it. Hard to play with these guys. I think this is the experience that I need. So heading out there to Canada for the first one, up in Toronto was an experience itself. Again, one that opened up my mind a little bit more. And again, having a coach like Coach
Up
Mouse.
and welcome to the Arena Lacrosse League, Patrick Timothy, all the way from the state of Florida. Pleasure to have
having
you.
a coach like Coach Mouser, I think I've gotten very lucky through my professional experience right now with box and being stuck with some pretty damn good coaches. So I've been very blessed and thankful for it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and I love to hear the amount of work you put into it. I love this sport more than anything because you don't get guys that are just good athletes who happen to like the sport. It's guys like you that love this and you're putting in all this travel. So what do you do full time though? This is one of my favorite parts because you everybody that does this has found a job where they can try to get weekends off so they can travel all over the place and play all over.
Um, Couple. Definitely number one is teacher. So I teach economics, sociology, and American government honors at NSU University School. I'm also a girls lacrosse coach, the head girls lacrosse coach there as well too. But that's my day job. I love lacrosse to be my day job, 90% of my job. But that's what's paying the bills right now. Um, they definitely be a lot more flexible, a lot more supportive towards my dreams. They understand that lacrosse is a passion of mine, and they give me the opportunities to be able to go on the weekends, having the weekends off and come back hopefully by Sunday night. It's not easy having to get up the next day for work and having to go teach a group of kids, lacking a little energy. But again, the fuel that I get from living my dream, pursuing my dream, and continuing to develop and get better, it gives me the edge to continue to know that this is just a step in my journey.
That's amazing. So what is your master's in?
Master's in Human Resource Management and Organization.
It's so crazy. How many of those Tusky guys from your team are playing in the ALL?
Um,
There's quite a
a lot.
few. Yeah, I've seen like as you've sent me a couple of clips and then a couple other guys have, and as I'm watching it, Stamper loves it. He sends me a bunch of clips all the time from there, and I'm noticing all these names. Nick Miller, Lemieux, you. I'm like, wait, how many guys? Then you just said Anthony Patterson. I was like, all right, there's another one, and yeah, so there's got to be a bunch of guys up there. I love it. Do you have any idea what your summer plans are as far as do you see yourself playing in the Can-Am again? Do you see yourself, going with Tusky? Because that was impressive the year they had.
You know, the team, I think, in my opinion, I don't see myself making any other changes because, again, the Tusky guys, they're gritty, they're fun, uh, great characters out there. So when you're part of a locker room like that, you really don't want to step away from it. Guys like that, they teach you the hard way to keep it honest with you, to keep it real with you. And again, just seeing my developmental through that summer with them, it would kind of be a shame for me not to be back in the same locker room with them. But also at the same time, aspirations always set high. I would love the opportunity to maybe play or get an opportunity to try out for a PLL team. I that's been one of the goal of mine since playing back with the Denver Outlaws for a little bit. I've always wanted to get back to the field professional realm. And again, I love both sides of the game. I think box is special itself, whereas again, field also has its own special place in my heart as well too. So
Yeah,
if
and
I
I
can,
think guys like you, the world picking the sixes format is going to really help guys who have kind of gotten into this box game from field because you have that field understanding and it's almost going to slow it down. And once you guys get adjusted to the rules, you got to be pretty excited that the Olympics has picked sixes because for somebody like you who's played, you play both sides of the field, you can stay out there, you can run up and down, you're used to changing on the fly in box, you're used to having only five guys out there with you.
oh man, I played in a couple of sixes games before. I played back in Costa Rica with Romar back when we were just playing for Panama for a little bit. But just playing on the sixes out there, it's night and day. I'm telling you, like I'm picking up that ground ball, I'm gone. I am gone. And transition all day. I love it. Field, you have the 6x6. Obviously, box, you gotta narrow your spots, but you give me that 6x6 on that short of a field, and yeah, that's transition. That's transition.
That's what I mean. I just see somebody like you just running all day and just like bounce shots, just ripping them, running off, swapping out, coming back out and doing it again. I definitely see that. That's awesome. Thanks so much for all your time.
Again, Patrick Timothy. I'm sorry. One more time. Laid off.
No, it's good. Yeah, like I said, I'll go through and cut a bunch of this stuff out and I'll loop it together. It'll be funny because we'll do what's at the end of this will end up being at the beginning for the most part, and then all of a sudden they'll cut right into our conversation because yeah, we just started rolling. So I was like, hit record. This is Awesome. I loved it. You're great at talking. This has been a blast.
It's taken a lot of communication classes back in college. I'll tell you that much. I love having fun, man, especially when it comes to lacrosse. Anything, if it's commentating, if it's playing, if it's coaching, it don't matter where it is. As long as I'm around lacrosse, man, I'm happy.
Thanks so much for all your time. I really appreciate you taking a break in your busy schedule. You are the hustlers that give somebody like me a chance to film all summer. And really, these Can-Am and these growth leagues and pushing the summer experience has just been amazing. Thanks again for your time and really appreciate everything you do and contribute to the sport.
No, thank you, Greg. Everybody appreciate Blue Squatch. You guys give us the content that we need every single day to fuel our energy for the game of lacrosse. So we appreciate you too.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I really, I'm pulling for you, but I hope we get to see you in the NLL one of these days soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Greg.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.